Okay, so for what feels like ages now, we've been watching this whole TikTok saga unfold. You know, the potential ban, the sale talks.
It's been a long road.
A really long road. High stakes, geopolitical drama. Basically, we've had national security worries, executive orders flying around, last minute corporate deals.
A real roller coaster.
Definitely. But underneath all that noise, there's always been this one like giant question mark hanging over everything.
The algorithm.
Exactly. What happens to the algorithm?
Right. Because without figuring that piece out, the recommendation engine, I mean, that's the core value of TikTok, isn't it?
It is TikTok, basically.
Yeah. So none of the ownership changes really meant much to the U.S. government without nailing down the algorithm issue. So our mission today in this deep dive is to take the actual details we now have confirmed by senior White House officials and really unpack how they're structuring this transfer.
The U.S. operations transfer, specifically.
Right. The U.S. operations to majority American ownership. And we're going to focus like laser-like on the tech solution, how it deals with those intense national security concerns.
And the big headline here.
Yeah.
The thing that really shifts the whole perspective on this deal is that the algorithm, that sort of secret sauce, it's not just getting handed over. It's going to be actively, continuously overseen right here in the U.S.
By a specific company.
By Oracle. Yeah. That level of operational control, that's pretty unprecedented, I think.
It really is.
Okay, so let's start maybe by just laying out the basic framework. The new TikTok U.S. entity. We know a senior White House official confirmed the overall structure, and they stressed this isn't just like a simple buyout.
No, it's a joint venture structure.
Right, a joint venture. So the deal transfers control of the U.S. operations and, crucially, a copy of the algorithm to this new company based entirely in the U.S.
And the key thing there, the main goal, is really compliance with the law that mandated a full divestiture of controlling interests.
Ban or sale law.
That's the one. So to meet that, the new ownership group has to have majority American investors. And critically, it has to be run by a majority American board of directors.
Makes sense.
And the real measure of that control transfer, it lies in how much the original parent company, ByteDance, gets to keep.
Ah, the retained stake.
Exactly. So after this deal goes through, ByteDance will hold less than 20% in this new TikTok U.S. entity.
And that's sub 20% number.
Yeah.
That's the hard line, isn't it? That's what ensures ByteDance actually loses control, loses veto power.
Precisely. It makes them a significant minority investor, sure, but it cuts that controlling tie. It severs the operational command chain, so to speak.
It's like they still have a financial interest.
Yes, they're financially tethered to its success, you could say, but they can't dictate operations or content anymore. That's the critical separation.
Okay, and we're starting to see who's actually in this ownership group.
Right.
Like some interesting names.
We know for sure Oracle is in. And the private equity firm Silver Lake, they seem to be the anchor investors.
The tech and finance anchors.
Right. But it's broader than that. The group will also pull in existing U.S. and global firms that were already invested in ByteDance itself.
Okay.
And the source material gave us a useful clarification on the media side of things. It's Fox Corp that's confirmed as an investor.
Not the Murdochs individually, but the corporation.
Exactly. Fox Corp, which puts a major American media company right into the ownership mix, alongside other heavy hitters like Michael Dell.
Wow. So Fox Corp and Michael Dell.
Yeah.
That's quite a coalition.
It is. And you have to think that's strategically important, right? It shows it's not just a tech or finance takeover. It's a broad group of American interests, media, tech, finance, all backing this venture.
Yeah, it definitely signals to regulators that the oversight's coming from diverse parts of the U.S. corporate world.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, we've kind of sorted the money and the management side.
Right. But, like you said at the start, that only solves part of the problem. Let's get into the real technical challenge here. The algorithm.
The heart of the matter.
Yeah. Because for months, the argument from officials, it wasn't just about where the data was stored, was it? It was always deeper than that. It was about influence.
Absolutely. It was fundamentally an influence operation fear. Plain and simple. You know, we often talk about cyber threats like stealing secrets.
Right. Hacking classified files or something.
Yeah. But here, the worry was, well, much more insidious, really. The algorithm is the recommendation engine. It decides what billions of users see when they see it. And U.S. officials were deeply concerned that ByteDance could be compelled by Beijing to manipulate that algorithm, not just for censorship, but actively, amplifying divisive stuff, maybe influencing elections, stirring up dissent among Americans.
Wow. So the fear was using the app itself as a kind of soft power weapon, a digital state intervention.
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
Okay, that really friends the threat clearly. So if the whole point of the banner sale law was to kill that risk, that foreign state manipulation risk, what does this agreement actually do to the code? It can't just be like, here's the keys, right?
No, definitely not. It sets up what you could call a technical firewall. And it's incredibly complex. So the new U.S. ownership group, they get a copy of the original code.
Okay, a copy.
But, and this is crucial, they have to do two things with it. First, they need to review every single line of that code, looking for any backdoors, hidden vulnerabilities, anything suspicious.
Right, security audit.
A deep security audit. And second, they must retrain the algorithm specifically on U.S. user data.
Okay, wait, retrain. What does that actually mean, like, technically? Is it like hitting a reset button? How hard is it to sort of rip out the algorithm's old brain and give it a new American one?
Well, massively difficult is probably an understatement. And that's why this is such an unprecedented kind of mandate. Think about it. An algorithm like TikTok's driving a global app. It learns its behaviors, its biases from years and years of interactions with hundreds of millions of users worldwide.
Yeah.
So retraining here means you have to essentially isolate that global brain, all that accumulated knowledge from everywhere else, and force it to learn a completely new operational logic. One based only on U.S. user behavior, U.S. data, U.S. content standards.
Wow.
It takes immense computing power, a lot of time, and it truly signals a separation of the app's digital identity, at least for the U.S. market.
And this is where Oracle comes in again, right? Their role goes way beyond just like renting out server space.
Way beyond.
They're not just holding the data. They're basically the referee for the code itself.
Yeah.
Continuously.
Precisely. Oracle becomes the critical operational piece here. They won't just store the data domestically, which, remember, they already started doing under a previous arrangement.
Right. Project Texas.
That's it. Now, they will continuously monitor how the algorithm is actually behaving, how it's pushing content to U.S. users in real time.
So like an ongoing audit.
An ongoing continuous audit of the recommendation engine's actual output. It's fascinating, really. It sets a totally new precedent for what you might call algorithmic sovereignty.
I see. So rather than just trusting the new owners, saying, okay, you guys fixed the code once, good job. The U.S. government is demanding permanent, third-party, real-time oversight to make sure the code stays fixed, stays unmanipulated.
That's the idea.
But how does that even work, technically? Can Oracle really audit content recommendations faster than things go viral? That seems hard.
That is the multi-billion-dollar operational question, isn't it? And the sources confirm this capability is absolutely central to the deal working. Oracle's role requires an incredibly sophisticated monitoring system, probably largely automated, running alongside the main app.
Looking for anomalies.
Exactly. Flagging deviations, sudden weird shifts in content patterns that might suggest someone's trying to manipulate things from the outside. And if you step back and look at the big picture, this level of mandated algorithmic supervision by a third-party tech company, well, historically, it's completely unique in U.S. commerce.
Yeah.
It just shows how far the government feels it needs to go now to control the digital logic itself to protect national security.
Yeah. And the technical separation needed sounds huge, especially since, as you said, the new ownership only controls the algorithm for U.S. users.
Right.
Which brings up that really practical question the sources mentioned. Does this mean eventually that American users will have to download a whole new, separate TikTok app?
That's a very real possibility, yeah. The way this technical separation is described, it strongly suggests the U.S. version of TikTok might evolve into a fundamentally different product over time.
Running its own distinct code.
Running its own distinct code, communicating only with these Oracle-vetted servers. And that's the potential trade-off, For you, the user, the trade-off for this level of data sovereignty might be losing that seamless global connectivity. Yeah. You might end up with a more contained national digital experience instead.
Interesting. And speaking of Oracle being so central, we probably can't ignore the political dimension here.
No, you really can't.
I mean, this whole structure, it builds on that existing partnership they had, Project Texas, storing the U.S. data. And let's be honest, Oracle chairman Larry Ellison, he's known to be a close ally of President Trump.
That political connection, it undoubtedly helped pave the way for Oracle to take on this massive kind of quasi-governmental responsibility. It turned what started as a technical storage deal into the absolute core operational component of this new TikTok US.
Right.
But it's not just the chairman. There was also that really intriguing internal shuffle at Oracle just recently.
Oh, you mean the CEO change?
Yeah, exactly. CEO Safra Katz stepped down from that top job. She's now vice chair of the board. And Oracle appointed co-CEOs Clay McGork and Mike Silica to replace her.
Which is a pretty big shift for a company like Oracle.
Huge shift. Now, the sources were careful to note it's unclear if this is directly tied to the TikTok deal, but Katz, who is also a very powerful figure and also known as a Trump ally, she might now be freed up from the day-to-day CEO grind to potentially take a more direct hands-on leadership role in this new TikTok joint venture.
Ah, I see. So if she were to move into a top spot at TikTok US, you have a leader with deep government ties, massive corporate experience, and, well, significant political weight right inside the new company.
Exactly. That would certainly boost confidence, especially from a regulatory perspective.
Yeah, you think so. The perception of stable, politically connected American leadership, that's probably almost as important as checking the code itself.
It adds instant corporate gravity, absolutely, especially for what's going to be a very complicated transition.
Okay, so if the ownership structure is sorted and the tech hurdles seem, well, addressed, at least on paper, where are we with the final steps, the regulatory timeline? It's like the White House thinks this is basically a done deal.
They do. The reporting says they are 100% confident that a deal is done, and they expect the signing to happen in the coming days.
Okay, so what's next, legally?
The main next step is for President Trump to sign an executive order, probably later this week. And that order will officially declare this deal a qualified divestiture.
A qualified divestiture. What does that specific term mean here? Why is that wording important?
It's the specific legal language needed under the original banner sale law. By calling it a qualified divestiture, the president is essentially certifying that this negotiated sale structure successfully fixes the national security risks that were identified in the first place.
Got it. So that classification is what lets the whole thing move forward and stops the ban.
Exactly. It voids the threat of the ban. And signing that EO also does something else practical.
Buys more time.
Correct. The EO will extend the pause on actually enforcing the original ban order by another 120 days.
Okay, and the previous deadline was already pushed to December 16th.
Right. So this extra 120 days means the deal isn't expected to be fully formally completed and implemented until early next year, sometime after that December deadline passes.
Okay. And one last detail, the sources mentioned the White House isn't taking like a direct stake in the new company. No golden share.
Right. A golden share would typically be a small government equity stake that gives veto power over major decisions.
They decided against that. No direct ownership. They'll maintain control through the regulatory requirements, mainly the ones Oracle is enforcing.
Makes sense.
Although, while the White House won't take equity, there's still the matter of a potential fee for negotiating this whole massive deal.
A fee for the government?
Potentially, yes. Expected to be worth billions, apparently, though that hasn't been finalized yet.
Billions. Just for brokering the deal.
That's what the sources suggest. It just underscores the unprecedented scale and the incredibly high stakes involved here.
Wow. Okay. So let's try to boil this down for the listener. After this incredibly long and complicated saga, what are the absolute key takeaways from this TikTok deal?
Okay, the essentials.
First, we've got confirmed American majority ownership and a majority American board. That satisfies the divestiture law.
Sure.
Second, ByteDance keeps less than 20%, which means they definitely lose controlling interest.
Double check. Loss of control is key. And third, the really critical part, the tech solution. It's this operational firewall. With Oracle continuously monitoring the algorithm to address those national security fears, basically forever.
That ongoing oversight is the linchpin.
Right.
And maybe if we connect this whole complex technical and political fix back to you, the listener, the user, what this whole saga really shows is the extraordinary lengths, the sheer technical complexity needed now to separate content control from ownership in this global digital world.
Yeah.
It raises a really fundamental question that goes way beyond just TikTok, doesn't it? What's the necessary trade-off between having these seamless, amazing global apps we all use and achieving absolute data and content sovereignty within your own country's borders?
That's a tough one.
It is. And the solution here, essentially building a technical border around the US algorithm, it strongly suggests that maybe in the future, if governments really want that full sovereignty, well, your digital experience might have to become increasingly localized, more disconnected from the global core.
So the end of the truly global app experience, perhaps.
It could be the beginning of that trend, that tension between global connectivity and national control that's probably going to redefine how every major global platform operates over the next decade. Something to really think about.